From an undisclosed location in North America, you're watching Card to Card. And this episode is a pretty good one. We're talking about the legend of Huggin Molly. And this is a card from this is a second edition Cryptid Nation Metazoo card. Really cool artwork here by art by Poncho. He does a lot of the Metazoo art. But fantastic art there. Very creepy. And this legend of, the card is based on Huggin Molly. So I'd never heard of Huggin Molly, but I did some research and found that in Abbeville, Alabama, there's this legend of Huggin Molly. And Huggin Molly is supposedly some sort of phantom that at night, she's like about 7 foot tall and wears this long black dress and like a wide brimmed hat, and will walk up to children that are out late at night, grab them and hug them and just scream super loud in their ears. And I could not find any actual eyewitness accounts of Huggin Molly attacks, but as I dug more and more into this, I was starting to feel like this was more of the fabricated urban legend that parents would tell kids to make sure they're not out late at night. And because there just wasn't a lot of back history of this individual, and the sightings and stuff, you couldn't find like actual recorded evidence of these attacks. Is more like hearsay. I could find some that were like, well, my dad said that he was attacked and all this, but there wasn't like actual reports of it. So I think this legend was probably fabricated by people in Abbeville to keep kids off the streets at night. Maybe they're having trouble with kids being out late and running the streets, and the parents came up with this idea to kind of keep the kids away. Maybe they even had someone out there, walking up to kids and hugging them. Who knows? But the legend was born, and it kind of spread to other towns in that area. And in fact, we actually have an artist rendition. Now, this is a pretty cool picture, I think. It's just an artist rendition, but kind of shows you like the scariness and like if you're out late at night walking the streets of Abbeville, that you might run into this. And like we always say, viewer discretion is advised. These types of things can be scary to look at. So there is the artist rendition of Huggin Molly, and there she is with her umbrella, her long black dress, walking the streets looking for kids to hug. So, interesting story. But these are not my favorite type of cryptids. I like the ones that are like based on like creature sightings and stuff like this. But they do put like urban legend type stories in the Metazoo card sets. But I mean, they're cool, and I'm always going to remember this story when I see this card. And the artwork of this card is fantastic. So we actually have video talking more about Huggin Molly. So this is an actual news report that was done on Huggin Molly, and kind of talks about like what we were just talking about. Give a little bit of the history there of Huggin Molly. Let's go ahead and roll that.
The legend of Huggin Molly is one of the best-known ghost stories of the American South. It is centered here in the charming city of Abbeville, Alabama.
They even celebrate Huggin Molly today, as you can see on the signs as you arrive in Abbeville. The great image here of her chasing a young boy who was out later than he should have been. The story that's told around here is that Huggin Molly would roam the streets of Abbeville, and if she encountered young people out after dark or later than they should have been, she would run up, give them a giant hug, and scream in their ear.
The legend actually has its roots deep in the traditions of Ireland, where many settlers of this region lived before moving to the United States. The earliest appearance of the ghost in the South was in nearby Phoenix City.
The story that was told there appeared in the Columbus newspaper in the late 1800s, and over a period of several weeks, the newspaper described encounters with a ghost in Phoenix City that they described as being of the Huggin Molly variety. That means that it was a ghost that was dressed in a long shroud or long gown of some type and was appearing at night.
By the end of the 19th century, Huggin Molly was creating terror not only in Alabama, but in other states as well. One citizen of Louisiana even began imitating the ghost, just so he could hug pretty women.
Okay, so as you can see in that video, it kind of goes into what maybe some other areas kind of glommed onto that story to, tell their kids to keep kids off the streets. Who knows? Probably kept some kids off the streets, but it just kind of more or less became a legend. And I do think it's cool when you go to some of these towns that have these stories, these legends, that they're able to kind of build a little bit of commerce around them. Like that, there's a restaurant there called Huggin Molly, or Huggin Molly's. And definitely, if I was ever in Abbeville, I'd want to go there and go check it out. And, there's going to be, like, little places where people can go and take some pictures and stuff like that. This was a sighting of Huggin Molly, blah, blah, blah. And I think it's cool that these towns are able to kind of utilize that folklore and bring a little commerce to their little towns. Love it. So, anyway, this is the part of the video where we take a closer look at the card, at the art. Like I said, the art is just top notch on this. I need to see if I have a reverse holo of this card. It'd be really cool. As you can see, date of birth 1901, and right there, Abbeville, Alabama. And the attack is a strangling hug. And the flavor text says, "Losing a child is hard on anyone. Won't you let this poor woman hug you to help ease her pain?" Yeah, because there was some legend that Huggin Molly was someone, a lady that lost her child, and that's why she goes around hugging kids on the street. But what do you guys think? Is it just some sort of urban legend of Huggin Molly? Or do you think that there really is some sort of creature or phantom that actually goes around hugging kids and screaming at them at night that stay out on the streets? And if there was, maybe they wouldn't go out and talk about it. Or could it be just somebody that's getting their thrills by, going out and hugging on kids? That's kind of creepy, but maybe it's somebody like that. Who knows? What do you guys think? Put down in the comments. What are your thoughts on Huggin Molly? If you are ever in Abbeville, Alabama, I think you should definitely go check out that Huggin Molly's restaurant. But after that, when you're walking back to your car, man, especially if it's at night, keep your eyes out.